So much for summer.
Welcome back to the second review of Summer in Australia, where we will be taking a look at one-off comic book character movies. Today's movie has a beloved, iconic character, and this was his first on-screen live-action appearance.
The Punisher. Justice with a vengeance.
The Punisher was released in 1989 with Dolph Lundgren as Frank Castle, and the movie is somewhat of a loose adaptation of the character. And like the 1980s, this movie is essentially an 80s cop crime action movie with the Punisher coat of paint, though even that's debatable. I'd say they just threw the name of The Punisher on it and called it a day. So, let's dive into The Punisher and see if the movie closes out the superhero genre of the 1980s in style, or it ends up like Jigsaw's face. No, not that one. Yeah, that one. After an odd opening title montage, we get introduced to one of the people who killed the Punisher's family.
Are you worried about the Punisher?
Now let me tell you something about this Punisher, whoever he is. If he ever shows up within 1,000 yards of me, he'll find out what the word punished really means.
In the business, we call this foreshadowing.
As we see the guy who killed Frank's family drives off, we see a mysterious man watching from his motorbike.
I think we all know where this is going, so let's just skip to the end.
The journalists, being, well, fucking journalist, go through the dude's gate. Why was it open? I mean, shouldn't it be locked? Anyway, the house explodes as they see the man coming out with a knife in his back. Ouch. If that was in the knee, all that would happen is he wouldn't be able to go adventuring again. We see a quick glimpse of the Punisher, and it just shows how much of a looming specter that Frank has become. The house then blows up as he finishes the job. And what I love about this is that it's done. Frank has gotten his revenge on the people who killed his family. Now he's just one man on a mission killing bad guys.
I love it!
We go through the sewer to reveal Frank butt-ass naked. And look at that face. Dude knows he's gonna die from some disease in the sewer, and not from one of these punks. We then see the kids dying in a car bomb, a very bad one since Frank has time to get them out of the car as it's on fire, but then it blows up again, so either it's a very bad hit job or Frank was just incompetent with saving his family. A police detective then investigates the ruins of the house while being asked about the Punisher. His name is Jake Berkowitz. However, another police detective named Sam Leary wants to be his partner and believes that Frank is the Punisher. We get introduced to our main antagonist, Gianni Franco. He essentially comes into the city as he is swarmed by the media.
Then what's been killing your associates for the last 5 years?
Well, too much stress, I guess. Thanks for coming.
Dude, the last guy came out with a knife in his back. Then his house exploded. What type of stress fucking does that? He meets with the detective and really nothing happens. We then cut over to a cafe where Gianni is spending time with, I want to say, his brother and his son.
Hey, that's great.
Hey kid, I know a cool guy who does magic tricks too.
I'm gonna make this pencil disappear. It's gone.
Now, I'm gonna be brutally honest here. All the scenes with the gangsters are boring. It's as simple as that. When we have the Punisher on screen, it's action, mayhem, and awesomeness. When we get back to the antagonists, it's boring, underwhelming, and dull. Now, I get what they were trying to do, have us be sympathetic for Gianni, since he has a kid. But the actor for Gianni doesn't get to be over the top. He's boring, and the dude is a good actor. I loved him in The Living Daylights. There is one antagonist later on who I think is actually pretty decent. Gianni's whole plan is essentially bringing drugs into the city, and he wants to deal with the Punisher too. Speaking of which, Frank needs to get information on a shipment of dope coming in, so he gets the help of his snitch by remote controlling a truck with booze on it. Man, I wish old toy trucks came with that. I'd have a whole collection. His snitch is named Shake and tells Frank that the location is at Pier 13 and that everyone has teamed up apparently. It seems as though Frank has indeed united the mob against him. As the boat filled with drugs comes in, Frank starts to kill the lookouts when a bunch of Asians break on board the ship and kill everyone on board. Damn rice eaters taking our jobs. Anyway, the Asians start killing everyone on the docks as Frank ziplines his way down and mows down every Asian he can. Frank, us Asians do have feelings, you know. He then chases after the van and is able to derail it. But what's this? He is knifed and falls in the river. Oh, the horror. Oh wait, never mind, he's fine. Pfft, pussy. Rambo had to do this. The Asians go to meet Gianni and his mob, as it is revealed that they are the Yakuza, and the head of the Yakuza is named Lady Tanaka, and she says that she's taking over now.
Look at me, sure. Look at me, sure. I'm the captain now.
And Gianni says they are going to war. Meanwhile, Frank is listening from his sewer. Dude, how do you get a wire in that place? Like, shouldn't you stand out? Like, how'd you get in? Anyway, Jake and Sam discuss what Frank's pattern of killing are.
And so far, the only thing that I've got to show for it is these little calling cards here. A whole bunch of these.
Shouldn't all that be labeled as evidence? I don't know how it works, but shouldn't that evidence be in lockup? They find out that Frank is using the sewer. Frank is then informed by Shake that the kids have been taken as a result of his actions, as the Yakuza have set up a meeting with the mob members. Frank goes to an underground casino to send a message to the Yakuza.
Every day the children of God is going to cost you money.
And oh boy, it is a freaking amazing message. Blowing shit up with an M60 and a grenade launcher attachment. The cops believe that Frank is the prime suspect in the kidnappings of the kids, but Jake doesn't believe it because he holds out a picture of his two daughters. Shake tells Frank that they are at an old amusement park As Frank heads inside, he is ambushed by the Yakuza, and he kills everyone he can, but he is overpowered and captured. Frank and Shake are put in this torture rack, very much like Thunderball.
Goodbye.
Hey. Have a nice day.
Wait, aren't you even gonna watch them? They could get away.
No. I'm going to leave them alone and not actually witness them dying. I'm just gonna assume it all went to plan. What?
Frank is able to untighten his cuffs and kill the two guards while having one of the best shots of the film.
Cool? Cool.
So cool.
He puts the torture dock in his own contraption and books it. We see Sam and Jake move through the sewer as they discuss why he never gave up on Frank, and he says that he helped him become a better cop again, as he was drinking a lot before he met Frank. The mob all gets wiped out by the Yakuza, as Frank breaks into the facility where they are holding the family's kids. He extracts most of them, but a couple of them are still in the building. Frank goes in and saves one of the kids, but Tommy Gianni's son gets left behind. Frank is then caught by the cops after a pretty fun chase scene with the Yakuza. Jake then meets with Frank, and this scene is just amazing. Jake is trying to break through to Frank and help him, letting him in and have a human connection, as Jake viewed Frank's family as his own. Meanwhile, Frank is not there anymore, just a shell of a man, a hulking husk, punishing those who are guilty. It's a powerful scene, as Dolph plays Frank, or I guess the Punisher at this point, with such an emotionless expression in this scene, and it works. It adds to the character, and you can see how his family dying really broke him to his core.
Hello, Frank. How you been?
Busy. You're sick. You know that, don't you? What the fuck you call 125 murders in 5 years, huh?
Work in progress.
What the hell happened, Frank?
Frank is dead. All right?
I've been looking for you for 5 years, man. Why the hell didn't you come to me for help?
I didn't need your help.
We only see him waking up from a nightmare, thinking of the pathway he has taken with his family gone in an instant. It's really good. And if this movie had more scenes with Frank and maybe fleshing out his relationship with Jake, this movie would have been even better. Now, I'm not saying it needed more scenes with the family. It could have, but more scenes with Jake would have made this film a lot better. That's what I'm saying. However, we go back to this idiot as he sees that Frank is going to jail. We then get another good scene with Sam and Frank in the armored car, which is good. It's not as good as the last scene.
How long do you think someone can live after you've cut out their heart?
A long time.
But in this scene, there is still a flicker of humanity left in Frank as he asks Sam to call him. But Frank is then captured by Gianni, and he offers him a choice. Help him save his son, or watch Jake
having a pretty little brain splattered all over this camera.
Oh, and by the way, Sam just disappears from the movie. She never returns for the climax or anything. I mean, I can't even remember her in the later half of the movie. She's just gone. Frank then sets up explosives to take out the lights and even more shit. He even ignores when Gianni offers him body armor. What a fucking legend. Jake then escapes his guards as Frank and Gianni make their way to the top floor of the building. Gianni asks,
"What's the reason behind you killing all those guys? There's a limit to revenge."
Well, I guess I haven't reached one yet.
They kill the shit out of every single one of these dudes, proving that guns are still better than swords. Although swords are still useful from time to time. They make their way through the building, killing everyone in their way. However, Lady Tanaka holds the boy hostage.
What a fucking bitch, am I right?
Frank has a fight with Lady Tanaka's adopted daughter as Gianni pursues Lady Tanaka. However, it looks like a close call with Frank versing the woman. Just kidding, he just snaps her fucking neck. Gianni then meets with Lady Tanaka once more as he asks what she wants. Lady Tanaka is a pretty great antagonist as she forces Gianni to kneel down, and for his son to live, he must put his gun in his mouth and shoot. And I love that she's cackling. She is a really great antagonist, and I wish she was featured more in this movie. She's just brilliant, and I wish that they removed Gianni and just had her as the antagonist and have Frank just wage war upon her. However, at the last second, Frank is able to burst in and throws a knife right through her head. Gianni and his son walks off, and it's happily ever after. Oh yeah, Frank is still alive. And he is the bad guy. So, the bad guy does the thing every villain does instead of shooting, doing an over-the-top excessive monologue. Then, it gives his son enough time to come through and Frank is able to kick away the gun. They have a scuffle and fight over the gun. And Frank is able to shoot him. Wait, doesn't he have body armor? Yeah, in the previous scene, he was able to survive. So, what gives? Why is it now he is able to die thanks to that one shot?
It just raises too many questions.
Anyway, we get the second best scene in the movie. Frank being held up by this kid. And this scene is just brilliant. He says if the kid is able to kill him now, maybe he won't need to kill him when he's older. So he puts the gun right at his head with a blank stare. There is nothing behind those eyes, whispering to do it. He's begging to die since he has nothing left to live for. But the kid isn't able to do it. He's not a killer like his father. Frank tells the kid to be a good man.
Because if not, I'll be waiting.
Oh, chills. Literal chills.
The cops find what Frank and Gianni did as Jake asks the boy if he knows where Frank went. He sees a blood trail and follows it. However, he can't find Frank. And we end the movie like the opening. In the sewer, seeing a butt-ass naked Frank, saying he's waiting for God to answer if he's doing the right thing or not. Maybe go to church instead of hiding in the sewer, but at the end of the day,
the guilty will be punished.
And that was The Punisher. a pretty decent action movie. With a few changes, this could be a pretty good film. However, it has some issues in this film. First off, put the skull on his shirt. Just do it, man. We don't need the skulls on the knives as his signature. Have the skull on the shirt. That is rad. Second, shorten the amount of time we spend with Gianni and increase the time we spend with Lady Tanaka. She is a much more interesting and compelling antagonist, and it's just a shame, like I said before, it's a shame that it wasn't Frank going up against Lady Tanaka. And third, increase the amount of time with Sam and Jake and develop Jake's relationship with Frank. Also, give Sam some closure. She just disappears from the movie. But overall, I think this was a fun action movie that really showed how cold and absolutely broken Frank is as a person. He is just a man on a mission against crime. And the man is reckless in this movie. Unlike other adaptations where he has body armor and he is fully kitted out, in this movie, he openly rejects body armor, runs into fights with no strategy or regard for personal safety. And this is perhaps all due to the fact that Frank Castle is not really in this movie. This is more of a Punisher movie, as Frank is dead. Like, this movie just openly shows that Frank is dead. And I know I referred to him in this review as Frank, but honestly, there are very few moments where he is Frank Castle. Most of the time, he is the Punisher, a wandering soul destined to fight crime until he dies. And honestly, it's a pretty good portrayal of the character. I really liked what they did with the Punisher in this movie. Just a hulking, husking person who, with no regard for himself or anything. He's just gone. Frank Castle was dead. This movie is a lot of fun. However, it is dragged down by scenes with the mob and needed to have more scenes with Sam and Jake. The Punisher stuff was great, and it's a shame this never got a sequel. I feel like they would have ironed out the kinks in a sequel, but they didn't. And I'm a bit saddened, but I'm honestly fine because what we got here is a fun enough movie, and I don't think this was as good to warrant a sequel. Thank you all for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to ring the bell icon to get notifications and share the video, why don't you? Just do it. Next time, we're going to be taking a look at one of the most infamous adaptations of a character. He has been adapted twice, and their line is so iconic, it will live on in the internet. Anyway, take care, and have a good one.
Oh, for fuck's sake.